right, let's hit the field.
All right.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
Today is Saturday, June 15th, and the Yankees were in Boston to take on the Red Sox in Game 2 of a 3-game set. Carlos Rodon was on the mound and looking for his 10th win of the season. My recap, your reactions coming up next. This is NYY Recaps.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back, kid.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back. Tough loss. Juan Soto enthusiast hits it right on the money. Tonight, he says, it's like as soon as we score, they score. And sometimes it's like that, baby. I mean, this is one of those nights where the Yankees just couldn't get any kind of momentum going. Every time you would think that they were starting to rally, the rally would fizzle, and the Red Sox kept tacking on. But I hope it didn't ruin your Saturday. I hope you had a good Saturday. My best friend got divorced today, so we spent the day celebrating. Carlos Rodon was not celebrating. He got roughed up. 5 runs in the first 2 innings, and basically that was the ball game because the Yankees only got 4 runs in the game. Yankees did threaten a couple of times, loaded the bases a couple of times. Juan Soto went deep, but ultimately the pressure from the Red Sox offense and the basically inability for the Yankees to get the big hit was the difference. Stanton had a couple of singles but failed to come through with some runners on base. Volpe continues to slump. He was 0 for 5 today. He's down to 267 with the average. DJ LeMahieu drove in 3 runs, but they were some of the softest runs that you'll ever see in your life. Bloop single to right field and then a blown double play that ended up a fielder's choice, which you do get an RBI on. If it was a double play, would have been no RBI. And just like that, the series is even. Rubber game tomorrow. By the way, the Orioles won today, so they beat the Phillies. That series is also tied 1-1. I'm going to try and catch Game 3 tomorrow and get a little bit of a scouting report on the Orioles and how they're playing as we prepare to take them on this week at Yankee Stadium. Still no word yet on Gerrit Cole. He obviously had the rehab outing yesterday, had 10 strikeouts. There is a chance he could start in that series against the Orioles, so cross your fingers. Rodon was going for win number 10 today. Maybe next time. And if you believe in due, he was actually due for a bad start. He's been red hot over the last 7 outings, 7-0 with a 2.28 ERA, but he takes the loss tonight. And tonight was just a big, fat, steaming pile of doo-doo. Frank Quaraz in the chat with the Dexter Morgan profile. Love it. He says, poop emoji show. And I concur, sir. I concur. Seemed like every pitch that the Red Sox swung at for the first couple of innings was a double. He settled down in the 3rd inning and, kind of pitched better from there on out, but there was already water in 5 compartments and the ship was going down at that point. Meanwhile, Yankees offense wasted some big opportunities. Wells continues to swing and miss at every curveball that comes his way. I'm starting to think Austin Wells might have some trouble hitting a breaking ball in the big leagues. Not everybody can do it. And usually catchers are pretty good at it because they can, they see a lot of breaking balls. But he is not good at hitting those breaking balls down and in. He's got a hole in his swing, to borrow a phrase that you don't hear much anymore. He's kind of like Tom Selleck, with the shoe toe at the beginning of Mr. Baseball. No chance. But it is what it is. You're not going to win every night. Yankees drop a tough one. Down on the farm, another home run from Augustin Ramirez. He's got 16 now. That's the most in the Eastern League. And he's got a legitimately amazing swing. And there's actually some hints of Gary Sanchez in there. Gary Sanchez always had a pretty good swing, especially when he was first on the scene at the major leagues. It was more his pitch selection. He would swing at that slider down and away and pull off of it, trying to hit home runs. Ramirez swinging the bat really, really well. Jason still swinging the bat well at AAA, hitting .394 in AAA right now. Ben Rice hitting .343 since his promotion. Oswald Peraza still at 179 with 4 home runs. Another guy who missed spring training, so I'm going to cut him some slack. He also had some injuries and so forth. So, you never know what's lingering. He might not be 100%, just trying to get to the big leagues. So, I'm not going to eat his lunch over that. Hopefully he'll get going soon. We might see him at some point. All right, chat is filling up. Let's get to the recap.
All right, let's go. Let's get it going.
Pamela Davis with the first cogent point of the night. She says that Augustine needs to go to AAA, and I concur 100%. That's the second time I've concurred with something in this podcast already. Red Sox jumped out to an early 3-0 lead, 3 doubles, a walk, and a single off of Rodon in the first inning. He was just throwing meatballs. It was a lot of 2-strike hits. He would get to 2 strikes, but he just couldn't put anybody away. Yankees got immediately to work when they came back. Base hit by Stanton, walk by Rizzo, bloop, single to right field by LeMahieu, and it was 3-2. And at that point, I'm thinking, all right, well, this is going to be one of those, 10-9, 13-12 type of Fenway Park games, and it just didn't work out that way. Second inning, Red Sox were all over Rodon again. Another 2-run double made it 5-2. 4 doubles in the first 2 innings off of Rodon. After that, he kind of settled down. Started throwing his curveball more, started getting more swings and misses. But like I said, 5 compartments were full, and lifeboats were coming off the ship, and that baby was going to sink at that point. Yankees loaded the bases for Stanton in the 5th. I thought we might have a little bit of a deja vu of his grand slam from a few years ago in Fenway, but he struck out on 3 outside breaking pitches, ugly swings.
Curveball. Bats are free.
Top 5 went without incident. The Yankees threatened but did not score. Bottom 5, Rodon got through it, and he was done after 5 innings. And the final line on him was 7 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. On the season, his ERA is up to 3.28, so over that 3.0 mark. It's hard once you get roughed up a couple of times to get it back under 3, because you basically got to throw 7 shutout innings a couple of times. But, decent year so far. He's now 9-3. So 3.28 ERA. Overall, those are pretty much all-star caliber numbers. I don't know if he'll get it or not. 85 innings pitched, 81 strikeouts, 23 walks, 1.11 whip. But like I said, he was due for a clunker, and he gave us one. Top 7, Juan Soto cut the lead to 5-3 with a little oppo-boppo over the Green Monster.
There it goes. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. Home run for Juan Soto.
Initially, it was ruled in play, and it would have been a double, but it was overturned on replay. 18th home run of the season, first home run since his forearm injury became public. That cut the lead to 5-3. But the Red Sox got the run right back in the bottom of the 7th. Saw Greg Weissert out there tonight. He was part of the Verdugo trade, obviously ex-Yankee, and his beard is out of control. Dude looks like he hasn't shaved since the trade. Yanks got their 4th run on a bases-loaded fielder's choice off the bat of DJ LeMahieu, 3rd RBI of the night, but again, all soft RBIs. And then the Red Sox answered back with a crooked number, and that was that. Yankees drop a tough one.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
If you ain't first, you're last.
David S. says, Jeter stuck it to us with Stanton. There's a great passage about that trade in the Yankee way. I'm not going to spoil it. The new Andy Martino book about the Brian Cashman era, about how Derek Jeter approached Giancarlo Stanton to make that move. But Yankees swooped in and got him. At the time, I was very excited about Stanton because 59 home runs, MVP. You never know when somebody has a season like that if it just clicked. He was always that guy with crazy exit velocity, enormous physical skills. Judge had just hit 52 home runs, and you're thinking, maybe Major League Baseball unlocked something with huge players, right? Maybe it's one of those weird analytical things where they figured out if you take a guy who's 6'6", 6'7", and you give him the proper bat path, then they're going to hit 50 home runs. They just figured it out, I don't know how they figured out if you break, if you throw a sweeper and a fastball from the same arm slot, guys can't recognize it, whatever. And so I was excited about that, but in the back of my mind, there was that little devil on my shoulder that was saying, psst, he's got a 13-year contract. Psst, he's been playing on AstroTurf. Psst, big guys don't last long in the major leagues. Psst, he's still not a good hitter. So there were obviously things that were warning signs. Struck out 5 times in his Yankee Stadium debut. Look, Stanton has always been accountable. He's been a great Yankee. He's been extremely clutch. He was huge in the 2020 postseason. That home run he hit off of Tyler Glasnow in San Diego is one of my favorite home runs ever. The home run that he hit on top of the restaurant, I can't remember if that was, I think it was earlier this year, 483 feet. It might have been last year. All the years blend together now. But he has hit some monster shots. He hit that grand slam against the A's. He's got enormous power. He's so much fun to watch when he's on. But then there's nights like tonight where, he hits a couple of singles, all right. But you get him up there with guys on base, and I know he's hitting like 300 or close to it with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. I know that. But you throw him a certain type of pitch, if you execute it, he just misses by so much that it's frustrating, I know he's better than, I give him credit for a lot of times. I'm kind of tough on Stanton because I don't like when guys chase pitches that are like 2 feet out of the zone. It's just frustrating to watch. It's just aggravating, And I'm obviously a guy who's rooting for Dominguez to make it in the major leagues, and I think he's going to be a big star. And it kind of bothers me that Stanton is clogging up that portion of the roster when in reality it should be Judge and Soto at the DH spot and Dominguez out in center field. And I don't know. I'm just maybe a little bit bitter on Stanton. But he does have a lot of big hits for us. He's always been a great Yankee. He's very accountable. And some of his at-bats are just uncompetitive. And that's just what we're going to have to live with. And his body's breaking down. He can't run. He can't play the field. So it's been a bit of a mixed bag with Giancarlo. So Fred Fredberger says, Derek just laid it out. Yeah, I went on a little bit of a rant there. A little bit of a Giancarlo rant. All right, let's take a few more comments. Pamela Davis says, when is John Birdie coming back? I miss him. So John Birdie, he obviously left with what looked like a really bad leg injury. They called it, I believe, a calf strain. But if you remember, it looked really severe. He went down in a crumple and had to be helped off the field. So I'm not counting on him being back anytime soon. Honestly, if we get him back by August and keep him healthy, be nice to have a contact hitting third baseman who can pick it going down the stretch, because I think that DJ is probably going to wear out. Those feet, once you start having feet problems, it's all downhill. Ask Deion Sanders, ask Shaq. So many guys over the years have had feet problems and just never been the same. I can't think of, off the top of my head, any baseball players, but I'm sure there were. You know what? Actually, I think Kenny Lofton had like turf toe or something and he had problems. Jason Giambi, he had plantar fasciitis for a while, and it just nuked him. When you have long-term foot injuries, I just question how much power you're going to have, how much you're going to be able to drive the baseball, because everything starts from the ground up. And, having John Birdie back as a contact hitter will be nice. Now, will his legs be totally healthy, right? Will his calf be fully healed? Or is it going to be one of those lingering problems? He's in his 30s. He's 34 or 35 years old. He's no spring chicken. So those things can linger. Anyway, let's get to it. Juan Soto enthusiast says, Orioles gain a game. So let's take a look at the standings as of right now. Yankees now 50-23. Orioles 46-24. Game out in the loss column, 2.5 games back overall. Red Sox 36-35. Rubber game will be tomorrow. Marcus Stroman on the mound. Blue Jays 34-36, and Rays bring it up the rear at 33-38. See, throughout the American League, it's really the Yankees and the Orioles with the best records, and then everybody else. The Guardians are 44-24, but I don't know if they've got what it takes to sustain that hot start. I think the Royals might overtake them. The Mariners off to a pretty good start. Their GM, or president of baseball ops, DePoto, said that they just want to win 54% of their games. That pissed off a lot of the fans. They're at 57.5% right now, 42-31. Phillies obviously taking on the Orioles this weekend. They're off to a great start, 47-23. They're going to win that division. Braves have struggled. They lost Acuna for the year. They've lost Spencer Strider for the year. Nats actually playing close to 500 ball. They've got some young guns coming. Mets off to a tough start. They're just kind of a dumpster fire. I don't see them getting much better. In fact, I think they're winning percentage, which is currently at .464, it's going to be a lot closer to 40% or even lower by the time the season's over because they're going to mail it in pretty soon. And the Marlins, obviously breaking it down. They're terrible, already waved the white flag. Brewers, first place in the NL Central, 41-29, 6.5 game lead on the Cards, who have played better as of late. They got off to a tough start, so they might not unload at the deadline. They don't break it down very often. They usually add and are aggressive. So it'd be interesting if they unload any of their players that teams would have interest in. Reds, 34-36. Cubs, 34-37. Pirates, 33-36. The entire NL Central is in competition for the wild card. Wild card is literally living up to its name this year. Wild in the NL Central. And then the NL West Dodgers lead by 7.5 over the Padres, who are at 500. Dodgers at 43-28. Padres 37-37. Defending NL champs, the D-backs under 500, Giants under 500, Rockies way under 500. So that's your look at the Major League Baseball standings as of right now. AG says DJ is done. I have to say, unfortunately, that it's not looking great for DJ. Not a lot of hard contact. He still looks good at third base. He still looks good at first base. The defense is still there, but we're going to need to get some production out of the corner infielders. I haven't seen much from Rizzo. Obviously, he had a couple of good games. You know, he had the home run and a multi-hit game. I didn't see much from him tonight. And over the last month, it's just been kind of, you know, I don't know if it's the beginning of the end or if it's just he's done too. If both of these guys are done, the Yankees are going to have to figure it out in the next few weeks and go out and get somebody because you need more production from the corners. All right, let's take a few more comments. Final thoughts. David Smith says, what's your bigger priority, first or third, bullpen or closers? I think the bullpen, honestly. I mean, Pamela mentioned John Birdie earlier in the podcast. They will get him back. I think he's capable of playing third. You know, first base would be nice, but you can go to Ben Rice. Honestly, I would not hate it if the Yankees called up Ben Rice. But the bullpen, you're just not going to find like a dynamic bullpen arm in the minor leagues right now, unless you like convert somebody like Clayton Beeter to the bullpen. You know, I think I would probably go. I think I'd probably go out and get a top flight reliever. Maybe somebody like Garrett Crochet. He'd probably be my number one target if I were the GM right now. Classic Pablo says, go out and get Alex Bregman. That's an interesting thought. I don't know if the Yankees would do it. Let me see what kind of year Alex Bregman is having, because he is going to be a free agent after the year, and the Astros are off to a tough start. I don't know if the Astros are going to give up. I think they might try and re-sign him. So Bregman right now hitting .240 with 9 home runs. He's got a 1.2 WAR, 303 on base percentage, 710 OPS. That's a very hitter-friendly park there in Houston with the trash cans, 103 OPS. So he's not having a great year. He got off to a really slow start, so he's probably played a little bit better as of late, but I don't know. I might pass Adina on Bregman. I just don't I don't want to have to pay the Astros price for him, and I don't know how much he's going to give you. He seems to be pressing a lot, kind of like Glaber is in his contract year, but he does have 9 home runs, so maybe a little bit of thump. David S. says no thanks on Bregman. I think I would pass on Bregman. I think, you know, I mean, if you want to give him away, sure, but the Astros are close enough to a wild card spot, or they're going to be, that they're not going to want to break it down. So you'd have to overwhelm them for Bregman, or at least, you know, pay a fair price. And I don't want to do that. I think I'd rather go with Birdie and Rice on the corners. And worst case scenario, you know, you run Rizzo out there and hope that he hits. Hope that he runs into one in the playoffs. You know, he might be done, but it might be something in there. He does have, you know, 8 home runs, I think. So the pop is still there. It's a question of whether or not his timing is screwed up because of that concussion, which is what I worry about. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to call it a night. We got a game tomorrow, Game 3 against the Red Sox, rubber game. Yankees are off Monday, I believe, and then the Orioles come to town. So going to be a fun week here on NYY Recaps. If Garrett Cole comes back, it'll be on Wednesday probably, so stay tuned for that. And we'll see you next time.